down there. So I think this is really, really positive, and the Golden Ferns that I assume must be linked to the All Golds operation. So all good.
Yeah, very positive, and still more positive news on the women's game.
Yeah, so BBC TV will broadcast the final of Rugby League's Women's Challenge Cup final live for the first time next month on telly. So last time it was on the internet, but this time it's on TV. The game on Saturday the 5th of June at 11:15am kickoff will be shown on BBC Two. It will form part of the triple header with the Men's Challenge Cup semi-finals, with the venue to be confirmed some point this week. But really great news that. So it follows on from the 2019 Women's Super League final being live on Sky Sports the night before the men's grand final, and now we've got the Women's Challenge Cup final on terrestrial television in the World Cup year as well. It'll help build more interest, might help sell a few more tickets for that end of season party.
Oh, it's going to be a long day though, the 5th of June. Beer and bacon butties at 11:15 in the morning. God, it's going to be a very long afternoon.
Yeah, but an enjoyable one, certainly, and it'll be great to see some trophies handed out.
Should be great.
We'll talk about the women's... we'll talk about the quarterfinals and the very interesting draw for the semi-finals, and maybe make a few sort of predictions when we get to the other results section around the Women's Challenge Cup. But I think that's fantastic news, like you said, David. And some news that you're probably finding fantastic is that Regan Grace has signed a contract extension which will keep him at St Helens for another season until the end of 2022. The Super League, the Welsh winger has scored 73 tries in 117 appearances since his debut back in 2017. Happy, David?
Certainly happy that he's signed an extension, because his contract was up at the end of this season. I think it's very sensible from his perspective. He's still very young and still developing. I mean, he's getting better, with each passing season. I think he's improved again this year. There's talk in the background about rugby union being interested in him. So I think it's very wise of him to keep his options open. As a Saints fan, I'd loved to have seen him sign a longer contract, but let's see where we are
do you think?
12 months' time.
Do you think it was on the club side or his side that the contract hasn't been longer? Is he just activating a option here, or is it actually a genuine new contract?
I can't tell you the latter, whether it was an option or a new contract, but from what I've heard, it was his decision to go with 12 months at this point.
Right, fair enough. So I suppose one thing it does allow an opportunity for is if some other people maybe leave St Helens and kind of cap space or money becomes available,
exactly.
He might be sort of banking on getting a bumper deal next time around in the medium term.
Exactly, that's also possible. I think there's a lot of Saints rumours doing the rounds at the moment. Leeds showing an interest in the very injured Bentley. We've got Roby's last year of his contract coming up. Coop's not sure what he's going to do yet when it comes to the end of this season. So it could be quite a transition next year for...
Yeah, Theo Farge out of contract as well, isn't he, this year?
Yeah. So there's quite a bit of work to be done during this season to sort out exactly what we are doing next year and where Saints' priorities are out of the current squad versus any new signings they might want to make.
Fair enough. Well, we'll let those rumours bubble on and we'll see how we get on. But Regan Grace, another year at Saints.
Absolutely, which is great. And Warrington head coach Steve Price has confirmed that utility back Matty Ashton will undergo ankle surgery next week. Such a shame for him, because he was playing well. 22-year-old was making his third appearance of the season against Hull KR in Super League round 5 when he picked up the injury in the second half. He was playing pretty well, and it's going to cause a little bit of a shuffling round of the Warrington back line, I think, over the next week or two until they sort that out.
Yes, probably 3 months or so they expect him to be out for, so that's a real shame for him. they played Greg Inglis, didn't they, at fullback in the game where Ashton got injured. He moved to that position and he played there against the Catalans in the Challenge Cup. But Stefan Ratchford pulled out late in the warm up for that game, so whether they'll go back to their more conventional spine that they started the season with this news, that it's certainly an option for them, isn't it? But it's very very sad for
it is
for the young fella.
It is sad for Ashton, but I've no doubt Warrington have got the resources to cover it, so I'm not too worried about them. In fact, I think they're playing very well now, but it is sad for Ashton, who was doing well. No doubt he'll come back strong.
Yeah, another disappointing news story out of Warrington of a different type is that an RFL Operational Rules Tribunal has suspended Warrington Wolves' Aribi Doro for 2 months, with 1 month suspended. Doro was found to have breached the RFL's betting and related activity code of conduct. The sanction imposed reflects mitigating factors that there was no connection with Warrington Wolves' fixture, but betting on rugby league matches by any individual bound by the RFL's operational rules is a strict liability offence. Doro will have no involvement in rugby league at all until his suspension ends on the 27th of May. So, a young fella doing something stupid by the looks of it.
Yeah, looks like it. The rules are damn clear. We've had problems in this area before, not least as a Saints fan with one or two of our players historically. But the rules have been tightened up on this and are really clear. So there's no real excuse for making for doing something like that. It is pretty damn stupid.
Yeah, and I assume as well it mustn't have involved a Widnes game, because hadn't he been on loan at Widnes already this season? So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, youthful stupidity there from Aribi Doro. Hopefully he'll get his head around the operational rules.
Indeed. France international Tony Gigot has joined Championship club Toulouse with immediate effect. The 30-year-old fullback or standoff, who won the Lance Todd Trophy as man of the match in the Catalans Dragons' historic Challenge Cup final win at Wembley in 2018, left the Dragons at the end of 2019 and has since had spells with Toronto and Wakefield before rejoining his old club Avignon in the French Elite Championship. He'll certainly have a good team to play with Toulouse, and no doubt they'll benefit from his exciting style of play.
Yeah, we're seeing a few moves. We're going to talk about a couple more people coming out of the Elite League as their seasons winding up to their playoffs and finals. So, but Gigo's going to be my question is, where's he going to fit in that side, really? Because they're going really well. They've got, good experienced players already in those positions that you'd expect him to play. You got Ford at 6. You've got Corella at fullback. I don't know if Corella might be an injury concern or something like that. I'm not sure, but it gives them great depth because, like I say, they've got players already. Yeah,
no, exactly that. It gives them really good depth. It's a lucky side that goes through a season without getting injuries in any key position. So, and Gigo's pretty versatile. So, it gives them some really quality coverage across the skill positions. So, it's a good signing for them.
Into League One, where Greece international Stefanos Bastos has joined Coventry ahead of the League One campaign. The 27-year-old prop, who was born in Charistos, has won 12 caps for Greece since making his international debut in 2014. Bastos has recently been playing in the French Elite Championship for Saint-Gaudens Bears and has previously played for Hemel-Stags, Doncaster and French side Villers-Aragon.
I'm glad that was yours, not mine.
Well, I've said it wrong, but hopefully Alan Walker will tip us up on how I should have pronounced it and tell me off for not preparing beforehand. I would deserve to be told. Because but good on Coventry finding a player at this stage who can add to their squad. Another League One club actually who today have found some quality to add to their squad is Barrow, who were already the favourites for the competition. They've signed former Toronto Wolfpack and Hull FC utility back Hakeem Maloudi. Maloudi, who's 27, is a French international who hopes to make their squad for the World Cup. Born in Perpignan, he's most recently been playing for Palau Broncos in the French Elite Championship, having, of course, spent time with the Wolfpack most lately. Meanwhile, they've also signed former Whitehaven hooker Sam Dowsett as Barrow. Dowsett, who's 28, was part of Haven's side that won the League One title back in 2019, so experienced at that level. But Maloudi's the headline here, isn't he? This is a guy who played and didn't necessarily look shit in Super League at the start of last season.
Yeah, I thought, exactly. I always thought he was a good player. So I think that's a really good signing for him.
Yeah, if he's kept his fitness up, we should think he would be, given that he's been playing in the French leagues over the winter. You'd think he's gonna rip it up at that level with a combination of his physical capabilities and his total unpredictability.
Yeah.
Another piece of sad news, though, that this year's America's Championship is delayed again until next year now due to logistical difficulties for the nations involved in the region caused by COVID-19. It was originally scheduled to be played in Kingston, Jamaica last year, and was meant to feature Chile, USA and Canada as well as Jamaica. Then it was moved to America and rearranged for May this year, but has now been further delayed until next year at the latest meeting of the European Rugby League Board, where it was also rubber stamped that Montenegro, I think it is, get observer status. I'm sure I saw something tagged onto a news story about that as well.
Right.
So Rugby League is growing, but unfortunately not being played.
Yeah, hopefully they'll get that played third time of asking.
Yep.
And finally, former Australian Rugby League player Jarryd Hayne has been jailed for 5 years and 9 months for sexually assaulting a woman in 2018. Hayne, 33, was found guilty in March of attacking the 26-year-old woman in her house. He must serve at least 3 years and 8 months before being eligible for parole. Not a good news story, and one of, several, quite a long chain now of bad news stories coming out of the NRL, and not just out of the NRL, but here as well, involving violence of one sort with some of our players and violence against women, which is not a great look.
No, it's really sad, isn't it? For a start, Jarryd Hayne's an athlete who should have been able to capitalise on his talents and continue a strong career, but instead he's obviously made some bad choices, and now he's going to serve the consequences of those bad choices and bad actions, and it's totally deplorable. And the other sort of side story that's come out of this as well is the despicable victim blaming social media posts from some of his former teammates and friends of his. We only talked last week about T-Rex getting his gig at the New York Freedom, and he's had his contract cancelled by them because of his post on social media, which was, well, it went beyond supporting his friend, and moved into the realm of victim blaming. Now, I don't think Tony Williams was at court and went through all of the evidence, so I think he should have kept himself back on going to the extent he did with what he did. And Chris Nanini of Salford's another player who was who's been kind of wrapped up in this, hasn't he? And they're conducting an investigation about his sort of social media reaction to this. And whilst I'm all for even the worst of people getting support from the people who love them, despite the bad things they've done or been convicted of doing, there's a line that these players should have stayed the right side of, and it appears to me they definitely haven't done in those two cases. So they also deserve serious consequences from, it's not a time to be victim blaming using just your version of the facts. We had a social media blackout because of online abuse of